Good evening. Welcome to the LSC transfer room. Liverpool 0, Everton 2. The first time in 13 years since Liverpool lost at Goodison. Mikel Arteta was still a player playing for Everton. And here we are. Thank you very much for joining us. If you are joining us, obviously no one's joining us live yet, but if you join us afterwards, thank you very much. Put a like on, get involved in the comments for us. We'll try and put some therapy to what is a dreadful, dreadful night. You're with Dan and Stu, and if anyone else is joining us later, I'll add them into the chat. Stu, I probably know the answer to this question, mate, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty crappy to say the least.
Yeah.
It was, I think in some ways I've just been thinking about it now. I can accept defeat sometimes if it's by a lucky goal or it's just one of those days where it's two evenly matched teams and they're slugging it out. But tonight was just disappointing in the overall effort that was put in. Bar one player that I think can hold his head up a little bit is Diaz tonight. He was probably the only player that was really trying to sort of work something. He was always positive, pushing forward, trying to cut in, go out wide. But for the rest of them, I don't get what they're playing at. I can't put my finger on it, whether it is lethargy, whether the legs are gone, whether their heads have gone, whether the talk of a quadruple has got to their heads, and the fact that they lost to United in the FA Cup. There's so many questions that we need answers to because the last couple of months have been so poor. I just don't get it.
Now, it's a really difficult one. And so I want to say for any of the blue side of Merseyside who might come over to have a little watch of this afterwards, I want to say well done. You played very, very well. You were fantastic. You did everything right that you knew you needed to do. You played us like a fiddle. That's what can be said. From the set pieces, the goals were exactly what you worked on. You scored them. It was a fair game. And I just wanted to put out there for everything that we did badly. Everton met us with something they did really, really well, to be honest with you. So I thought they were really impressive, to be honest. It was. I'll definitely look at your sentiments when it comes to players' effort and ability to turn that effort into an actual output. I thought Luis Diaz was absolutely fantastic in large parts of the game. I thought he was direct. He was attacking fullbacks. I've been on him a few times, and I've, especially early on in the season, where I was calling out the fact that he wasn't doing that. And now he's back doing the positive stuff, which is attacking his fullback and really trying to penetrate into the box. He played probably the only one on that pitch who I can really walk away and say, you know, something he played up to the standard that I expected. There were some players there. Mo Salah was terrible, was absolutely terrible. Andy Robertson was absolutely terrible. Darwin Nunez was slightly less than terrible. His finishing was terrible, though, I'm afraid. And it's not often that I'll come in. It's not often beforehand where I've been trying to not make excuses, but I've been trying to put some nuance around what he's done. Today, the chance that he had with the one-on-one versus Pickford, he's just smashing the ball as hard as he can rather than actually putting a placement on that ball. That ball has to go across the goal. And I know he can do it. I've seen him do it against Newcastle. Start of the season, everyone talked about, he's turned the corner. Now, look, that's his finishing. He was out of the team, comes on, 10 men down, and puts two world-class finishes together. And we thought, right, that's it. It's gone. It's like it's gone out of his mind. It's gone out of his brain. And all it is, he's pressing down as hard as he can on the circle button and just bang, power. And so, that might work against, I don't know, lower level goalkeepers. I don't know. But in the Premier League, there's hardly a bad goalkeeper knocking around. And if you're going to hit it straight at the goalkeeper every single time, it's more than likely going to bounce out. It's not going to bounce under or bounce in. It's going to go straight back the way it went because of the power on it. Let's go through it. So let's go for this early start.
Yeah,
I thought the first 20 minutes, barring the situation when we had the offside penalty, I wasn't too concerned. Once I'd seen the reaction of the players, once I'd seen the fact that he was offside, I was like, okay, that's fine. These situations can occur. It was a well-worked move. Liverpool play a high line to get the offside. So
Yep.
that worked. First 20 minutes had passed by and we had another clean sheet, something Liverpool haven't done for a long time this season. We strung 3 of them together. And I thought, okay, defensively, we're doing the right things. And then came the sucker punch coming from the set piece, the free kicks that we kept giving away. And I think they were needless, Stu. What did you make of the players' intelligence when it came to this match? Because for me, it came across that they were just getting really drawn in to the whole emotion of the game.
I think there was a certain amount of naivety, especially in that sort of in that first half, but more so annoyingly from Jones. Jones, he knows what these games mean, and especially at this point in time, and he was giving silly fouls away, and that was starting to grind on me a little bit. And McAllister gave a couple of fouls away, so yeah, I think there was a naivety. I think, especially from McAllister, as I was like second Merseyside derby, first one at Goodison. Perhaps they got a little bit, I don't know, overawed by the whole occasion and atmosphere, but overall, the entire team just had a bit of naivety. They know you got Tarkowski and Branthwaite as their centre backs. You know you got Calvert-Lewin up front. You know you got
Decore.
Tall, strong blokes. You know, and the team sheet comes out and you go, okay, they're in a 4-4-2 or a 4-1-1.
Yeah.
Standard Sean Dyche. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You're going to get roughed up. You're going to get bullied about the pitch. You know you're going to have to be at your strongest to counteract that.
Yeah.
It's like they've just forgotten all that this entire year. I just have no idea why.
Yeah, it's really difficult because just off air we were chatting, weren't we? And I think we all discussed it. It was discussed on multiple different channels. It was discussed, within, the larger media, Sky Sports. You looked at Liverpool were getting these results without Salah, without Diogo Jota, without your, Szoboszlai was injured. We won a League Cup with a bunch of kids, and the conversation surrounded is that we're getting these results with the players, who technically shouldn't have the same level of quality as the ones we have brought back into the team. We look more tired with a bunch of lads who've not played a lot of football recently, and that's really concerning because it's either one of two things. It's either a physical situation, which I can accept more, but it's an intense season. Of course, it's an intense season. We play intense football, and maybe with the rebuild that we've done, maybe we're a little bit further ahead than maybe not as far ahead as we thought we might be. And now this is just sort of coming home to roost now that we needed a couple more quality lads maybe to come in next season. And then that would have given us that move over the line. Maybe some of the injuries have hampered us in the build up to it anyway. It's just, but that's the one side which I can accept and I can go, right, that's what I want to hold on to. There's a small worry in my mind that it isn't a physical and it's more of a mental, and that people are just they're checking out early. They're checking out because they don't have it in them now to stay in this fight for whatever reason. Up until tonight, a win would have put us top of the table again, bar goal difference. And somehow we appear now to be in a free fall situation where we've got West Ham away. That on paper looks like a tougher game, where before we felt like we should be winning this game. We should be winning tonight, but now I'm not sure what team's going to turn up because we seem to be rolling a dice every single time. Stu, let's have a look here then. Right, some of the chat here, right? Anyone still back in Salah? Think again, it's time's up. Sell Diaz and get that cash. Mukhtar Ahmed, thank you very much for your comment, and it's a useful place for us to have a little bit of a discussion. What do you make of Mukhtar's comment there?
I'm kind of in agreement with it. There is definitely something going on with Salah since he's come back from the AFCON.
Yeah,
and definitely. This injury. Something's not right. It's not clicking. Okay, he's had a couple of goals and assists here and there, but especially
one good performance against Brentford, like half an hour, 40 minutes against Brentford, he was good. Since then, I can't think of one
it's
good
weird.
game.
Whether he's not fully settled, fully recovered from the injury that he got,
Yeah.
or whether something else is going on in the background, and maybe potentially he is on his way this summer and he's had his head turned. That's distracting him. I don't know. The Diaz one, I am open to. I wouldn't want to see. I don't want to see him go because I do think he's a class player, and he showed that tonight. But the other day, every player has got his price, and if somebody did come in for him for the right price, then yeah, I suppose so. He's one that I would class as probably replaceable.
You've literally, it's like you've read my mind. That was the word I was just about to use, Stu. I was about to say, of the two there, I don't believe Salah is replaceable as an individual. I don't think what the Mo Salah that we've had for the last 7 seasons, record-breaking Mo Salah, he's broke every record that's probably physically able to do. Ian Rush's goal record will be unbeatable. It can't be done. I don't think anyone could ever score as many goals as he has. So Mo Salah has come in, scored an incredible amount of goals. I think the only way we could ever actually replace Mo Salah is, for those of the Moneyball watchers, would be in the aggregate. We would have to bring in a couple of players to match his output, if that makes sense. So I don't think one player could ever score as many goals and have as many assists.
There isn't many around that are young enough. No, nowhere near.
No, there's nobody, and this is something for anybody out there, who obviously enjoy football, but for I like to watch a lot of analysis when it comes to data and all the rest of it, and I take the information from those people. If we want to replace Mo Salah, they have to be left-footed, and there is no left-footed players who are even coming close to what he can deliver when it comes to goals and output. So we'll have to replace Salah with a couple of players.
Yep.
Nobody knows. We don't know who's going to be coming in, because at the end of the day, if Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes are in charge, which we all have to get behind, because they've come back now and Klopp is leaving, there can be no doubt in anybody's mind that when Liverpool make a transfer, it's not Arne Slot's decision, it's not Ruben Amorim's decision, it is their decision. They will be saying who we are buying. So they will be the people who will make that decision. So Diaz, however, was exactly the word I used. I would say Diaz is replaceable. I think we could take Diaz away and bring in another player who could match or beat Diaz's output. That I think is a much simpler job. I think we could do that with one transfer quite easily. So really good chat there, and Mukhtar, thank you very, very much for your comments. Going to get through some more because I think this is good for everybody, for those who've joined us, just to be able to just get it out there and get your thoughts in there, and we'll discuss them. Let's have a look at this one. Piss poor, can't wait for a fresh start. We clearly have quality, and the quality has bailed us out throughout the season, but the tactics haven't been good enough from Carter. I would think you're right. I think it's caught up with us now, hasn't it? I was
just about to say the same.
Yeah, we lauded ourselves, haven't we, of being this team who's somehow been able to get a record number of points from losing positions. That's not a good record. As much as it sounds great to be able to say it, but it means you keep getting into situations where you could drop points, and that's what's happened. It caught us at Palace, and it's caught us today. That's 2 games now within bar the Fulham match where that's happened, and that has killed us. Conceding that goal in the first half is what killed us. Had we got to 0-0 at half time, perhaps this is a different story, perhaps this is a different game, but we don't know. So I definitely agree with you, Carter, on that one. Van Dijk needs to hands up his armbands. The players look like they have no interest. I don't know. I think it's tough. I think it's difficult. There's a difficult situation going on around the club at the moment. Klopp leaving, as much as I think it gave a lot of players a boost, I think perhaps now it could also be the opposite effect. This could be a little bit of a...
It's like an adrenaline come down. We've had that sort of rush, and for some reason we seem to be hitting the come down period at the moment. It's really odd.
Yeah, it's like we're deflated, isn't it? It almost feels like there's a deflation now, where it's like we've took too many punches to the chin, and now we can't seem to get our heads straight back on with it. So yeah. I think Van Dijk should definitely keep the armband, in my opinion. Electric Dreams, appreciate that one. Let's have a look here. Never give up. Jones is completely mid. He also needs to go. I'm sorry, Klopp has to go too. We're going to get your wish on one of them. Klopp is definitely going, I'm afraid. 5 more games for you. He'll definitely won't be here, I'm afraid. Jones, though, on the other hand, Jones is a difficult one. What did you make of Jones tonight, and what have you made of Jones if we look at the whole season?
He is an enigma for me because I can't figure out what his best attributes and positions are. To be fair, he's got a good engine on him, but over the last couple of games, okay, I know he's come back from an injury and he's had a couple of weird injuries over his career as well, which has made
the eye injury, which was a dead strange.
Yeah, which has made his career go like sort of stop start. So he's never been really able to get any sort of rhythm, which I respect that. You have to play game and again and again and again and again to get that rhythm back. But he just didn't look ready again tonight. He was getting bullied and giving away silly fouls, as I mentioned before. And for him to start tonight, I think was actually a tactical error by Klopp and his team. I personally would have started either Elliott from the start or Gravenberch because of his box-to-box midfield ability as well, which is exactly the same as Jones, but I think Gravenberch is actually a little bit stronger on the ball. Yeah. But Elliott is a little bit more creative, so it depends on which way you go. I think it was a bit more, not just Jones's fault, but I think tactically it was wrong as well.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because if we all look back, and I know it's difficult tonight for those of you who are watching, and I'm trying to be as philosophical and try and be as level-headed as I can be. I'm just as annoyed as you guys, trust me. But I try and look back and go, Jones started, and we look at our midfield three. We had Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Curtis Jones. Yeah. And for the first 8 to 10 games, no one was arguing that they were our 3 best players. What I've got in our chat were Jones was undroppable. The words Jones is undroppable are written in there that we were discussing. Jones has to be in the team. Jones, he gives us this control when we've got the ball. You know, this is all the conversation that was being talked about. But he obviously had that injury to his knee. You know, he got recovery back from that one. And then he's come back. And the one thing I really noticed, especially when he first played against Atalanta, he seems to be like half a second behind. Reactionary. He's getting caught all the time, which is something which Curtis Jones never used to do. He used to never give the ball away. Like, he was almost like it was impossible to get the ball off him. If he had the ball, he would get it, and then it would, like, you couldn't put a tackle in on him, and he'd just pass it away, and it'd be like, okay, it's like a Wijnaldum kind of, trait. Yeah. It's not sexy. It's not like, oh wow, but if you kind of a bit of a football purist and you're watching, you go, do you know what? That's good. To have that ability to be someone who can you just can't get the ball off him. You get the ball, you can't tackle him, and they can just slow the game down. They can speed it up. But since then, he's not the player that he is, and he is young. But I think you're right, mate. I think time is running out on him. Let's have a look through some more of the comments here, because there's no point in me doing the who do you think was a player of the match, because they're all Everton. There was 11 players on that pitch who were better than Liverpool, and they all wore blue. Yeah, that's the truth of it. So I'm not even gonna. I'm just gonna go through these comments. Let's have a look here. I'm not selling. Can't believe I go. Can't believe the season's over for us. Salah, Nunez, Robbo, Costa today. Yeah, I think they're just free people who cost us. To be totally honest with you, I think they're just all. I think Salah had great chances, couldn't hit a barn door. Nunez, I've spoken already. Yeah. He can't just blast shots straight to the goalkeeper. He's had chances this season which have been saved by what I would call world-class saves, and I'll give him that. But tonight, when we're 1-0 down and you have a chance to put that ball far side of the goalkeeper and your choice is to hit it as hard as possible, I can't defend that. There's nothing I can do to defend it. And
composure just went.
Yeah. And I don't understand why it's where it went. Why did it go? Where did it go? You're in that situation. The goalkeeper's not fronting you. He wasn't advancing. You're on your strong foot. It's the perfect angle to hit it across goal, and instead we just go for full power. And I'm really disappointed because I know there's such quality in Nunez, but I'm not sure whether or not. I mean, the new manager might be able to do something. The new coach might be able to do something, but I think now we're at a next season's the season. That's my opinion. Next season's the season as to whether or not he is the person we go forward with, and if that's how he continues on in the vein, we're going to have to move on to somebody who's more clinical.
I couldn't agree more, because I think for the longest time I've tried to defend Nunez, because I know that he's had a lot of critics. It's like, no, don't worry about it. It's come good. It will come good. He will come good. But over the last few games, when he has played, the amount of chances that he's missed, and he has missed a hell of a lot of chances, and the stats actually do back that up. He's got one of the worst big chance conversion rates in Europe.
Yep.
Which, when you're playing in a title race for one of the top clubs in the Premier League, you can't excuse that. You need your strikers to score goals. And I think more and more Liverpool fans are actually noticing this now and thinking, oh, actually, yeah, we can't defend him either. So I think you're right. It's going to be a make or break this summer, depending on who comes in and what he decides he wants to do with the squad. I would not be surprised if Nunez is on the potential chopping block.
Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. At the end of the day, we all have to get on board with the idea that if the Dayton Earth are back in charge, which is what we all believe that they are, they will be ruthless. They will be. They are. They don't know these people. They're not friends with them. They're not on the pitch giving them hugs. It's, there is an argument that needs to be said that Jurgen Klopp is too loyal to certain people, and he is. He has shown loyalty to certain players. He's shown loyalty where maybe loyalty wasn't the right decision to make, and that will be a conversation absolutely for another day. However, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes owe nobody on that pitch a thing. They owe nobody anything. They will make decisions based on what they feel is the right decision that needs to be made. So any players that we sell and any players that we buy will be on that team who put that together. And absolutely, someone like Nunez is definitely somebody whose name will be coming up.
You look at like sort of from a value for money perspective, and you think 85 million for Nunez, and you look at his stats for the amount of games that he's played, for the amount of goals and assists that he's contributed, for 85 million, it doesn't look good from a statistical point of view.
It was funny actually. I used to run my own kind of channel with like other fans from other clubs. So we used to talk about different things. So I was talking at the time when Liverpool signed him, and with a Manchester United fan. And I'll have to find it to bring it up so that we can say, oh, he's just saying it now. My words were, I'm pleased, but I would have preferred him to stay one more season at Benfica, because one breakout season does not make the player. Like same as it doesn't make the manager. That needs to be said for anything within football, with anything within data or anything within that, is that one dot doesn't create a line. You need to have more than one to be able to say, right, okay, this is what we're dealing with. And my concern was we were dealing with somebody who was absolutely just on a hot streak. They were scoring goals from, your expected goal situations that they shouldn't have done. And just everything turned to gold every single time. And for the last two seasons, it's turned a little bit this season. We've seen more goals, and he's definitely improved his link-up play. We can't take that away. But when you're getting the clear chances that he's had, it's the ones that cost us points that hurt the most. I don't concern myself with the chances he missed against Newcastle when we won 4-2. That doesn't concern me. It doesn't hurt me as a club, or it doesn't hurt us. But tonight, when the chance was there, Luton, when the chance was there, they hurt. They are chances which he shouldn't be missing. And as you rightfully said, for £85 million, that's not what we're here for. You've proven to the world, you've proven, that you can finish. So tell me where it's gone. Where has it gone? And I don't understand. Never give up. Completely disagree. Salah is the most replaceable player there. Needs 5 chances to score 1. Maybe the Salah that you're seeing tonight, yes. But the Salah that we've seen for the last 6 seasons, last 7 seasons,
Yeah.
You just can't. The one that we're trying to replace now, definitely, but the one that has put us where we are, we can't just replace him, not overnight, I'm afraid. Never give up. Pedro Neto will be the one, if not for the injuries. Absolutely, the man's made of Rice Krispies. Could not possibly have him. I think he's a wonderful player. However, the money that Wolverhampton would want and the wages he'd demand, he would be a new Naby Keita for us. Simple as that. Simple as that.
I totally agree there.
Yeah, lovely player, wonderful player, but he'd never be off the bench, never be off the he'd be the physio's best friend. The title ended with the United and Palace loss, not a surprise at all. And the Cop Kings, you're absolutely right to say that, and I think that's important. People will try and revise history, won't they, and go back and say, oh, when we didn't beat Luton, or they'll go back and say, when we didn't beat this team. No, when we had the 10 games to go and we were treating it as 10 finals, you're absolutely right. The Palace and the United game is where it began. That's where this all began. And it's a shame that it went that way. And it's difficult to take because in both of those games, the data says that we should have won, and it's hard to take because we create so many chances, but we don't score goals. And I don't know what we can do to fix it. I wish I could tell everyone here I knew what we could do to fix it. Dead Fox 08 says Elliott should have started. So he agrees with you, Stu. Elliott should have started in place of Jones. And I wouldn't have been against that, to be honest. It's the only thing for Elliott is it's whether or not the physicality could have hurt him. He's not the biggest of lads, is he?
I do agree with that. He's obviously one of the shortest players on the pitch. I mean, going up against the likes of Decore in the centre of the park would have been probably tough on him. But at the same time, I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again, when it comes down to putting your team out, and like you rightly pointed out, Klopp having some of his favourites and perhaps that having those favourites in when they're even not in form. You play on form. Whoever's playing the best at the time, you play them. And I think that's what, again, has been the mistake tonight, unfortunately.
It is. I mean, never give up. I really appreciate everyone coming in to the comments. It really helps us to chat because it is difficult for us to be able to wax lyrical about a team who was absolutely awful, and I could spend all night telling how crap we were. But we all know that. But it's worth us all having a good chat here. So, I mean, Klopp has been too loyal to some players for no reasons. Kwanzaa has been better than Konate. Yeah, I think there was a really good argument to say that and gets dropped. Gravenberch dropped after playing well. Yeah. I agree. And Elliott was never rewarded either. Little bits of nuance there. And again, I'm trying to be as balanced and trying to at least provide a bit of a devil's advocate to the situation. The Konate situation needs to be, we bought Ibrahima Konate for a large sum of money, about £40 million a few seasons ago. And he's also built up a very large, he should have built up a large credit in the bank to be able to go, I played poorly, boss. Let me have another chance. Do you understand what that means? Is that we can't go out there because it sends a message, doesn't it? It sends a message that if you're now dropped for the new kid, it creates a bit of disharmony. And sometimes you have to balance that with giving people the chance to fall on their own sword. And I think, unfortunately, Konate did that this evening. Gravenberch dropped after playing well. My only kind of counter to Gravenberch would be maybe because he's not played a lot of football. Maybe the fact that he played, a long game only at the weekend, that it's kind of just managing his minutes. Didn't play really at all at Bayern Munich last season. Has had a couple of injury issues himself, and maybe it's that. But I'm kind of, I'm reading
a fitness issue. At the end of the day, he's got to be treated carefully, so to speak. Because you're right, he hasn't played a lot of minutes, and again, he's only just coming back from another injury after 2 months out. So, I don't understand
got to be careful. That's the only thing I can say. It's my only, defense I could give up to sit there and say I thought Gravenberch played really well, and you would say, well, let's play him again. But again, I'm not privy to his physio situation. It might just be that they've said no, you've got to stay. You've got to manage his minutes because he could get injured again, and we'll go from there. Well. I agree, too loyal. Fair enough. I appreciate your. I don't always talk complete nonsense, just some of the times. There can be no doubt Liverpool lost the league because they don't have a striker. Ian Rush, Torres, even Jota being fully fit would have made Liverpool team clinch it. I wouldn't mind Ian Rush or Torres. Yeah, if we could get a time machine and bring them back. Yeah, I'd agree with that. That'd be brilliant.
Definitely.
Yeah, but Jota's been a massive loss this season, hasn't he, Stu? I mean, losing Jota, his finishing is obviously sublime. He can be anonymous. It was weird, actually. I said this after our match reaction. I used the word anonymous, and then I watched the other fan channels, and everyone used that word, and I went, all right, they're all copying me. Either that, or at least I know what I'm talking about sometimes. Jota, I mean, how much of a miss is Jota? He's out for 2 weeks, apparently. Do you think that's going to cost us?
That is going to have a huge effect on us. I really do believe that. I don't know. Is he made of glass? I don't. He just he gets a goal, gets back into the team, and then gets injured again. It's so bloody frustrating.
Oh, it is,
knowing we've had so many talented players in the squad ready for the season, and it's just injury after injury after injury. And yeah, Jota is going to be a miss. I mean, they say 2 weeks. Is that even possible?
It's just a typo. It must be 2 months, surely. It's a Liverpool injury.
To be honest, I would not expect him to be back for this rest of this season. I wouldn't. I wouldn't sort of rule it out, him actually making it back for the last couple of games. But at the same time, knowing what his injury record is like, I would be surprised if I did see him play again this season. It is going to be we are missing goals. There's no doubt about it. For the last 5-6 games, maybe longer.
This is what we all talked about, wasn't it? We all said, "Oh, if we had Jota there, if we had Jota there," and we're kind of back to doing it again, aren't we? If we had Jota there, maybe would have done this situation. I love Liverpool. He's legit top 10 attackers in the Prem, and you're talking like he's trash, embarrassing. Just which player are you talking? Nunez, or are you talking about Salah? Just elaborate for us and I'll be able to respond to it. But so I'll take your point there. Mukhtar says Edwards can bring the players but can't change the scoreline on the pitch. Need a top manager to do that. Absolutely. I think we are moving. It looks like we're going to be moving to a head coach rather than a Liverpool manager from the way it looks.
Yeah.
Their job is to coach the players, and that's what we should be looking for as an elite coach. And you're absolutely right. We will need somebody who's capable of changing and adapting to who we play. The quality of the Premier League is incredibly high. For those who don't obviously know, let's look at this Premier League table. 8th, 9th, and 10th are Brighton, West Ham, Manchester United. These are top teams. These are big clubs with players like Bruno Fernandes in there, and they've got, we're looking at them and we're going, that's the quality that you've got to play. They've got Mohamed Kudus playing at West Ham, Paqueta. These are top level players. So there isn't any easy games in the Premier League, and the biggest concern, and this is my only concern I have, is the managers that we're all looking at. They're not having to play the level of quality at 10th in their leagues than they have to play here. Playing at the bottom half of the table, I accept, but when 10th, 8th, 9th in the Eredivisie or the La Premier Liga in Portugal, the level of 10th is not even close to 10th in this league. And that is my worry. Can it translate? Whoever we bring in, can that football and their points and their stylistic way of influencing matches, can they bring that to not just one level above? We're talking 5 or 6 levels above where they're currently playing. So that will be something that will be interesting to see. Bit of an argument's going on in there. So a route through. We're just arguing with each other. Just getting rid of comments, just having a good round with each other. Yeah, okay. Brill. Mate, what's your thoughts going towards the West Ham game? I know it's difficult now. I know how you feel now. Is there anything you can take from the game today? Let's just try and remove the emotion. Can you take anything away from the game today at all that gives you some form of positivity? Is there anything you can take from it that's like, okay, didn't go well in this situation, but we did this well?
The only crumb of comfort that I could possibly take out of this game at the moment is the fact that we got Trent back and his long range passing looked on point. I think on a bigger pitch, I'll say bigger pitch, what looks to be like a slightly bigger pitch, bit more space, a ground like West Ham's, where the pitch seems that little bit wider. I think we could utilize that. The problem is at the moment, like we've discussed, it just the confidence, the energy just seems to be sapped, and that's what makes me worry for the rest of the games. Maybe Fulham was a fluke result, and I don't know.
Well, from the data, we should have only scored 1 goal on GA, apparently. I'm not the greatest of believer in goals and assists, your expected goals and assists. I think there's a bit of skullduggery. I call it a myth. It's a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but I think that you can't take that too seriously because it's not exact. It uses that every person is an average person. However, some players are more than average. So, when they have a chance, they've got more likely to score. However, a player of lower quality is more likely not to score. So I take it with a big pinch of salt. But against Fulham, our GA should have been 1, but we scored 3. So
sense.
Yeah, but when we've had games where our GA was 3, we've scored 0. So it's really difficult to kind of use that and gauge that at the moment because, like you say, we played against Fulham. I was happy we were more controlled. However, the goals we scored, I mean, Gravenberch's goal was pinpoint. We can't. It is what it is. Andrew Wright with the super chat of £2. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much for putting that in there. What a poor season for Diaz, barely any GA. Wow. And I think you're right. They started really quite well, didn't he? He scored that sort of Sadio Mane sort of goal against Chelsea, first goal of the season, sliding in between the sticks, and we were like, oh, okay. Oh, this is something new, and he started really well, and then it just sort of disappeared for a little bit, and that is something which he's quietly getting away with when it comes to criticism, is that he is the one who scored the least and assisted the least of our attacking front. So that probably leans into where me and you say, Stu, that he is the most replaceable because of the output that he's putting out on there. So Andrew, really appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. So a little root through any more of the chat before we wrap up. Anyone who's got the comments in there? No. That's a bin fire at the moment, so that's what we expected. Stu, mate, thank you very much for turning up. Right. I really appreciate it. You're not left me out here on my own to suffer, and with just ranting into a camera, Lee Gunner-esque for an hour. That comes next season. I'll be ready for that. I'll be able to get all my best bits and pieces out. I might even take up smoking as well. Drinking on stream. It's going to be very different. That's all I'm going to say for next season. Hopefully not. Right, everybody who's joined us, not the result we wanted, not the performance we wanted. Well done, Everton. Once in 13 years. I hope it's another 13 years before you do it again. Until next time, please put a like on. Please put a comment in for us. It really helps us as a channel. Even if you just put for the algorithm, it really helps just to drive more traffic towards us. Probably drive a lot more traffic tonight to come and have a laugh at us. So please do. However, you won't get the reaction out of me. I'm not going to lose my head, I'm afraid. So everyone who's joined in the chat, those who put the super chat in, really appreciate it. And until next time, have a great evening. Take care. See you now. Bye-bye.
Take care.